Issues? Yes. Canada? Eh. My name is Zaira, and this is my presentation podcast series. This presentation podcast series of mine is divided into 5 episodes, and each episode I talk about an issue related to either the Indigenous community or an environmental problem in Canada. This originally started off as a project assigned to me, but recently I felt that I should do this series not because I'm forced to, but because I want to bring awareness and a change. Please enjoy the next few minutes of me speaking about an issue that you've probably never heard of before. Episode 1. My mouth is dry. As someone who is living in Canada, I'm thankful to be living in a well-developed country. Canada's freshwater supply is 97%. That makes Canada the country with the largest amount of fresh water in the entire world. But even though Canada has the largest freshwater supply, there are a lot of First Nation folks that don't have access to clean water. Take a look at the pictures that are presented to you over here. Look at the difference between our water and their water. In 2015, the Canadian government promised that by March of 2021, Indigenous communities will no longer have inadequate access to water. The Canadian government at this time intended for all Indigenous communities to have access to clean water. However, the promise is long gone. In June of 2021, there were still active water advisories in place. What does that mean? Well, it means that most Indigenous communities still don't have access to adequate water. However, the Canadian government is still trying to help these communities out. If you're aware of what the ISC is, then I'm sure you'll understand most of what I'm about to say. ISC stands for Indigenous Services Canada. Indigenous communities that are suffering from inadequate water must apply through the ISC. The government then picks one community to assist. The rest of the communities, however, are placed under a water advisory. Now, there are 3 types of water advisories: boil water advisory, do not use advisory, and do not consume water advisory. The majority of the time, communities that are not funded are placed under boil advisory. This means that communities would have to boil their water for a minimum of 2 minutes before use. Now, we've boiled water for spaghetti, curries, and other foods that we've eaten. However, when was the last time you had to boil water before drinking it? Keep in mind that this boil water advisory and tea are 2 different topics. Pause the video and think for a moment if anyone you know has had to boil their water before drinking because of bacteria. For those of you that don't know why communities are placed under boil advisory rather than funding, it's because boiling water can kill potential bacteria that are harmful to our bodies. I know it sounds weird, but if you watch the movie Waterboy, the one with Adam Sandler in it, then it'd probably make a bit more sense. We've known for a long time that Indigenous communities throughout Canada have been mistreated, from residential schools to abuse from settlers. You can make a difference by sharing this podcast with others. Tell your close ones what you just learned and spread awareness. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and I'll see you next week.